Once you have started the software, click on New Project, give the appropriate name for the new project, set the proper units and press OK. The next step is usually to set the material properties. Open the New Material dialog box and define a new material name. Afterwards, specify the material properties in the epsilon and mu fields. Finally, choose a color for the material. The first construction step for modeling a planar structure is usually to define the substrate layer. This can be easily achieved by creating a brick made of substrates material in the box geometry section. Enter the dimensions for x, y, z axes. Select material in the material box as new underscore material. The next step is to model the strip line. Therefore, you should design two patch of PEC material on top of the substrate. Enter the dimensions for x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. And then press OK. Again do the same process for creating a substrate because this strip line is sandwiched between two substrates of same dielectric material. For this purpose, again go to Geometry, select Box and in the dialog box give the transversal coordinates. Select the new underscore material as the material for substrate from the material drop down list and in the brick creation dialog box and press OK button to finally create the substrate. Enter the values for x1, y1 and z1. Enter the dimensions for x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Thereafter choose material as new underscore material in the material box. Now again enter values for x1, y1 and z1. Enter the dimensions for x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. And select material in the as new underscore material in the material box. The next step is to model the ground plane above and below substrate. Therefore, you should again do the same process. For this purpose, again go to Geometry Select Box and in the dialog box give the transversal coordinates for both the ground planes. The material setting of the brick must be changed to the desired ground plane. Because no material has yet been defined for the ground plane, you should select PEC as the material for ground plane from the material drop-down list. And enter the dimensions for length x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Then repeat this process. Enter the values for x1, y1, z1 and the dimensions for x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Again choose material in the material drop-down list. The next step is to add the voltage ports to the stripline device, for which the S parameters will be calculated later. Each port will simulate stripline structure that is connected to the structure at the ports plane. To define the ports, open the voltage port dialog box and give the port name and appropriate dimension to define the exact port. Press OK. Repeat the procedure for the second port. Enter the port name as port 2. Enter the values for X1, Y1, Z1, enter the dimensions for X2, Y2, Z2, and press OK. For defining the surrounding space, go to Simulation and click the surrounding space. It will open a dialog box. Press OK. Go to Simulation and double click on Boundary Condition. Then a Boundary Condition Setup box will open. Give the boundary conditions according to structure and press OK. Go to Probes and choose EM Field Visualization. Then an EM Field Probe Setup box will open. The next step is Solver Settings. For this, go to Solver and by pressing Setup, a dialog box will open. Provide the settings as per the formula. Now save your project and give it a name. Stripline. Finally, to start the simulations, go to Solver and press Simulation button to start the calculation. A progress bar will appear in the status bar, displaying some information about the solver stages. Let's review the results.